Donington Park in the East Midlands, home to British Superbikes, MotoGP and the venue for the first British Grand Prix. Where better to launch the opening round of a brand new motor racing series? The ISC Sportscar Championship features some of the most powerful sports cars in the world, from British thoroughbred racers through to American muscle cars competing for the championship title over 12 rounds. As in most sports car races, it's not the number of laps, right-handers and long punishing straights. The Lister Storm, driven by David Warnock and James Pickford, took provisional pole, setting a time of 1 minute 33 in the first qualifying session. But their celebrations grounded to a halt as the car burst into flames, stopping the session. They lost their provisional pole as the car was not repairable in the time available, forcing them to start at the back of the grid in a replacement car. Brookspeed's Chrysler Viper GTSR was slightly off the pace in the first qualifier, but took provisional second place in the next session, breaking the 1 minute 34 barrier. Following the Lister's problems, the Viper, though, moved up to pole position for the race. The other CSG Motorsport Lister Storm, driven by Nigel Greensell and Jeff Lister, also put in a great performance, and they secured the now vacant second slot on the grid. Despite some early drama for the Mike Haynes racing team, Piers Johnson and Chris Ellis still managed a consistent performance in the Lotus Esprit V8, just a little off the pace. The Tech 9 Porsches took to the Donington circuit in great form, picking up 4th and 5th respectively on the grid. While the NCK Motorsport team had a mixed time in qualifying, Marcus Car 11 scampered through the gravel, but was still 6th fastest. The sister car starts from the back of the grid. The Venturi LM600 made a dramatic exit as the engine caught fire in the first qualifying session, shortly after exiting the pit lane. But the Protran competition car made it through the second session unscathed and secured 7th place. The two Atomic Kitten Motorsport Corvettes purred rather than roared through qualifying, taking 8th and 9th respectively, although the team will want to sharpen their claws and find more speed from these race-prepared road cars. The Speedworks Stealth V6 suffered engine problems on its first and only outing, forcing the team to abandon the session.
Fired the cars up here, ready to go out on track, and we found immediately that we had an oil problem. Basically the oil tanks which hold the oil that is the lifeblood of the engine, the tanks were not built to the specification that we requested, and we can't financially risk our engines. We've got a race in 2 weeks' time. If we damage these engines now, we may not get them ready for 2 weeks' time.
And the cars blazing the trail with a Lister Storm.
We were 1.9 seconds in front of everyone, which is quite a way in front. I got a good lap in there, and then we came down the back straight, lost a little bit of power, got a bit of vibration, misfire from the rear, and set on fire after that.
Unfortunately, it did quite a lot of damage to it. That car's out of the race, but we're bringing another one up from the factory now to take its place.
Yeah, we've had limited time in the car. You know, pre-season's been hard work for everybody, I think. And yeah, to get out and set provisional pole is, yeah, it suddenly settles a few nerves.
We've got over qualifying, we've got over warm-up, because anything can happen, so we just got to see how it goes. You know, we've been at it too long not to try and speculate where we're going to finish. It's going to be a good race, though, I'm sure.
So let's take a look at how they line up for this opening round. It's the Viper GTSR on pole position alongside the Lister Storm. The number 8 Esprit V8 is on the inside of row 2 alongside the number 7 Porsche. Then the second of the Porsches, and a gap where the Marcus is missing, sadly. On row 4 on the inside, the Venturi LM600 lines up against the first of the Corvettes. And there's the number 4 Corvette on the inside of row 5 alongside the Stealth V6. And the final row sees the number 10 Marcus against the number 3 Lister Storm. So the cars making their way onto the grid, the safety car coming through as well, passing the gap where sadly that Marcus is missing due to engine problems. Now there is the pole position man, he's here, he's focused, determined, Adam Wilcox at the wheel. He'll do the first stint in the pole position car. Alongside him, of course, will be the Lister Storm, and starting behind the Lister Storm, Neil Cunningham will take the first stint in the first of the Porsches. Alongside him on the inside, Chris Ellis will pilot the Esprit V8. Well, you can see fans, young and old, refreshments in hand, the green flag ready. They'll do a green flag lap. That's to get some heat into those slick tyres. All of the cars shod with slick tyres. That's to give them maximum grip around this 2.5-mile Grand Prix circuit here at Donington Park. Well, 12 rounds make up the championship for the ISC Sportscar Series. And, well, who will clinch that inaugural title, we will know towards the end of the year. But what a spectacular place to start here at Donington Park with all its tradition and history, and certainly some great cars making their way out. Amongst them, that number 16 Stealth, the B6. Now, sadly, we're only going to see a couple of laps from the Stealth. At least it's making its debut here on these formation laps. But the Stealth, well, as you heard earlier on from Dave Beecroft, not having the happiest of times. Now, talking about happiest of times, just on that lap there as they come through McLean's, smoke pouring from the back of the Venturi, and that looks to be real drama for them. Now, whether or not there's flames licking underneath that, there is indeed. Well, the Venturi in problems here on this formation lap, and I don't know if they're even going to make it round back to the pit lane. They're just coming out of Coppice, the double apex corner, and with all the problems that they had in qualifying, look at that bits dropping off the car, and you can see that is well alight. Paul Cope could do well now to find himself a fire marshal. The safety car continues on its way. The fire tender, which was rolling round behind these cars, is there as well, and the fire marshals will do their job, but that is desperate misfortune for the Pro-Tran competition team. The Venturi isn't going to make the start, but the red lights are on, and who will get the better of the start? The pace car is in, away they go. A cracking start by the Lister Storm on the outside. Jeff Lister taking the first stint. He's got Adam Wilcox to the inside though, and into Redgate. Wilcox will hold the line, and Lister has to drop the white car back in behind him. A good start by Chris Ellis too in the Lotus Esprit, and Neil Cunningham now down the crater curves, trying to line up an attack for that third slot. Through they come, flat in top gear. They'll brake hard for the old hairpin, almost 90 degrees, and you can see the front end of the Viper there squirreling about. Well, sadly the Stealth has retired itself into the pit lane, but that makes real sense. You have to make sure that the car is competitive for the rest of the season, so Dave Beecroft giving us at least a glimpse of what we can expect, and that's going to be a very competitive car, mark my words. The Speedworks team know what they're doing with that. Up the rise comes Adam Wilcox, leading Jeff Lister in the stall. There goes Chris Ellis behind him. Neil Cunningham just 2 car lengths back in the Porsche, but a very tidy line there from Adam Wilcox. Jeff Lister just running out onto the curbing using all of this, what is a very wide track. You can see the yellow flags flying there, so no overtaking down here into Fogarty's, although done the inside. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I hope he's passed the green flag. Yes, he has. So safety is okay there for Dave Warnock. He's taken the first stint in the black Lister Storm that started from the back of the grid and is already pounding through the field. They're going to be into 5th spot already as we come down to the tightest part of the circuit at the Melbourne Loop. Up the hill, Adam Wilcox leading the CSG Motorsport Lister with Jeff Lister at the wheel. Chris Ellis behind them in 3rd spot. Neil Cunningham still hasn't made a move, but he's really just using this opening tour to try and work out where he might launch an attack. Of course, no real dramas to get through on the opening lap because it is a 55-minute race in total. Rather than laps, of course, it's the amount of time in sports car racing that determines how the race is run, so lots of strategy will come into play. We'll see pit stops around about the 20-minute mark. Down the hill they come again, through the right-hander, a much tidier line, and still the marshals in attendance doing a great job of putting the fire out in that Venturi. Disappointment for them, but not so for David Warnock, who is absolutely flying around Donington Park's 2.5-mile Grand Prix circuit and is already there in 5th place, as I mentioned. Now, he's got a bit of work to do to catch onto the rear bumper of Neil Cunningham's Porsche. You can see the lights ablaze there, often a tactic used by drivers to sometimes fool their competitors into the fact that, look out, I'm coming. But Neil Cunningham, with all his experience, knows that that's just one of those things that Dave Warnock's trying. It won't deter him, I don't think, although how long he can keep the Lister at bay remains one of the pressing questions. There is Lawrence Pierce, the team boss of Lister Cars, Lister Racing, and he knows that his man is harassing, and also harassing it down the inside. A great manoeuvre by Neil Cunningham. Gets the Tech 9 car up the inside of Chris Ellis, and Chris Ellis losing momentum there up the hill. You can see there is a slight incline there. Warnock goes to the outside. Don't quite think he's going to get through there. Chris Ellis defends the line. Very, very tight through Goddard there, and back onto the straight to complete a lap. P4 for Piers Johnson and Chris Ellis in that Lotus Esprit V8. Oh, and slowing drama here. Jeff Lister. Oh, the CSG Motorsport Lister Storm pulls off at the end of the pit straight here. Desperate misfortune for the team. They've been preparing for this moment for so long, and Nigel Greensall will be disappointed as well. He was due to take over, but meanwhile the sister car there at Fogarty's up the inside. Ooh, Chris Ellis just saw it at the last moment. David Warnock hops up over the curbs, but picks up the position, and he'll be absolutely chuffed to bits with that. That puts him up into third position. So a change of order. Chris is very late on the brakes. Oh my, he's going to take the position back. No, he's not. He'll run wide. And Warnock says, thank you very much, I'll take the wider line in, and that gives me a better line out of the speed up the hill into Goddard. So up into third place comes David Warnock. That demotes that man there, that is Chris Ellis, and they'll complete another lap. Well, meanwhile, out front, the 2000 Lotus Elise champion, Adam Wilcox, is powering round in this 8-litre Viper, a glorious piece of machinery. The Brookspeed team, based in Southampton, have done a terrific job in getting this ready. And Adam is using all of those 8 litres to his advantage. Look back down the straight, and there is the second place man. That's Neil Cunningham. Behind him, Dave Warnock is third, and behind Dave Warnock, the Esprit V8 of Chris Ellis. Well, we have to leave Donington Park, but it'll be a thrilling climax to this opening round of the ISC Sportscar Championship. Join us in a couple of moments. Welcome back to Donington Park. It's the opening round of the ISC Sportscar Championship, and we're watching a fascinating battle as Dave Warnock tries to force his way past Neil Cunningham. Our leader is still Adam Wilcox, and here comes up the inside in towards Fogarty's. Down the inside, Dave Warnock has got the line, and Neil Cunningham can do nothing but succumb to that manoeuvre. So classic overtaking pass there by Dave Warnock, and Neil Cunningham is fending him off. And in fact, as they drop down the hill towards the Melbourne Loop, Warnock has to move across to the inside line to protect it. Now Neil Cunningham, a shrewd bit of driving from him here. Has he placed the car exactly where it needs it? Yes, he might well have done. Up the hill they'll come. The Porsche spits flame out of the rear of it, but Warnock will hold the inside line. Goddard, Cunningham surely now has nothing left to offer, although you have to admire the intentions of Cunningham. He really is giving that Lister Storm a real battle as they cross the start-finish line and complete another lap, and he looks down the inside of Redgate. I think he's got it as well. He has. Neil Cunningham takes the position back, so Dave Warnock must be wondering what on earth is happening. The Tech 9 Team Porsche of Neil Cunningham putting on a brilliant display here, but meantime out front, Adam Wilcox must be starting to think about the time when the pit stop board will go out. Remember, we will see pit stops in this race, but in the meantime, Adam will just concentrate on continuing to build what is a colossal lead over this pairing, and look at the way they scorch past the lesser-paced Corvette there. The white Porsche in second place ahead of the black Lister Storm, and here comes David Warnock this time. They get onto the straight, down past the exhibition centre, underneath the bridge, and down into Fogarty's, the braking area. Warnock has the inside line. Surely he'll go through this time. Yes, he does, but remember, we saw that on the previous lap, and perhaps Neil Cunningham can raise another challenge as they make their way down the Melbourne Loop. Down the hill, you can see how the gradient drops off there. It does make these cars very difficult to stop as they're on the downhill slope. But you just watch as Dave Warnock gets the power down on the Lister Storm. The black car shoots up the hill, and already he's pulled a car and a half lengths advantage on Neil Cunningham. So Cunningham will succumb to accepting that third spot now. Race leader comes in for the compulsory pit stop. The Brookspeed car comes to a standstill, and Adam Wilcox fair flies out of the car. Dave Clark will take over there. He slots in. Neil Cunningham will hand over to Peter Cook, and while they make their change, let's grab a quick word with Neil Cunningham.
We had a good race with the Lister. The Lister was quicker around the back part of the track, and we were quicker around the slower part, so it was a real good clean dive, so enjoyed it.
Now Chris Ellis enjoyed his drive too.
Yeah, it was quite frantic. David Warnock was obviously coming from the back of the grid in a quick car, so we had a good tussle for a few laps. Got him, he got me, and then getting into the groove. The tyres take ages to warm up on the Lotus. It's quite light. Handed over to Piers in P3, so let's hope we can finish there or higher.
Well, they've got to be thrilled with that performance. The Marcus is sounding a little bit poorly, I have to say, but that's a good stop from them. Out it goes, and there is your race leader, looking very twitchy. Dave Clark then made his debut here at Donington Park in racing, but he's just had a major moment. Got the car sideways through the old hairpin, and round he goes. Goodness me, that's dropped him back into the clutches almost of that number 3 Lister Storm. James Pickford at the wheel of that now, and they are really charging. So Dave Clark has got a lot of work to do. I was mentioning he made his debut here. He's the Caterham champion from a couple of years back, but look at this. The gap from first to second now down to just under 6 seconds. And young James Pickford, making his sports car debut, has the Viper in his sights. Now, you know the saying, it is easier to chase than to be chased. Pickford lights ablaze, turns the Lister Storm through that sweeping left-hander, very slow corner in relation to the rest of those on this track, and underneath the gantry goes. Down they come then into the Melbourne Loop, and this is the chance for Pickford. He's alongside. Oh, Dave Clark gets all squirrely under braking. He's got the wide line out, and surely Pickford will go on the inside. He's got the power down too quick. Oh my goodness me. James has thrown it all away on the exit of the Melbourne Loop, and Lawrence Pierce will be very frustrated, but you have to say James has put on a brilliant display. He's been 2 seconds a lap quicker so far over the last few laps. Here it is again. You can see he takes the wide line through the corner, gets to the inside, and then boots the power in. And so much power has this Lister Storm got from that 7-litre engine that the back end rotates. Well, Pickford has gathered it. Oh dear, oh dear. See me after school, Pickford, I think will be the message there from Lawrence Pierce. And Dave Warnock, the car owner, doesn't look too pleased either. Oh dear, Pierce Johnson has made a right monkey out of himself coming out of Goddard. He spun the Lotus Esprit V8 around. Now that could cost them a place. And meantime, James Pickford, while Pierce Johnson tries to gather himself together, James Pickford is trying to do the same. His lap times are quite sensational, I have to tell you. He's lapping 2 seconds a lap quicker than the current race leader, Dave Clark. The gap has narrowed. Look at this. Pickford starting to mount his challenge. He's hunting left. He's hunting right down the inside of Redgate. Oh dear, oh dear. Dave Clark must have known he was there and decided, I'm sorry, James, you're going to have to fight harder if you want the inside line from me at Redgate. So the gloves are off. This is great stuff here at Donington. Down through the Craner curves, the fastest part of the circuit. The cars go very, very light there through that left-hander, and then you just hope and pray that the grip that's available on the exit of that corner comes in. It normally does, but occasionally it just does get away from you. The Marcus is the next target in the lappery for Dave Clark, and that plays into the hand of Pickford. He's got a good opportunity now. I don't think somehow he'll try anything up at Coppice. There's the Esprit going through, with Pierce Johnson having made a recovery, lapping one of the Corvettes that are still trying to find the pace. Now this could be the opportunity for Pickford, getting behind the Viper GTS. It's 8-litre raw power from the Viper versus the tremendous 7-litre power from the Lister Storm. And again, the Corvette is occupying, I suspect, the part of the track that James Pickford wanted to be in. Now, are we going to see a carbon copy of the manoeuvre that Pickford tried? I think we just might be, you know. It's a brave manoeuvre, this, from Pickford. He takes the wide line in. That'll give him a tighter line out. He'll get to the inside. Oh, mistake from Dave Clark. He runs a little wide. Ease the power in, James. You can see he's done that. Has he got by? No, he hasn't. Side by side. Yes, he just does it. And into the final corner they go towards the checkered flag. Ah! Dave Clark sends it sideways, and Pickford's round as well. Who will scramble to the checkered flag? James Pickford and Dave Warnock look as though they will go down in the history books. They take the victory in the opening round of the ISC Sportscar Championship. What high drama. Tiff Niddell looks on. He'll be driving one of the Brookspeed Vipers. And if it's half as entertaining as that when Tiff's at the wheel, my goodness me, we're in for a real treat. Stunning stuff from James Pickford and Dave Warnock. Equally so as the Tech 9 Porsche comes across the line. Peter Cook and Neil Cunningham will secure third place, and that's probably a good opportunity for us to get confirmation of the official results for this opening round of the ISC Sportscar Championship. A great performance then from young James Pickford and the experienced David Warnock taking the victory. Second place going to the number 21 car of Dave Clark and Adam Wilcox in the Brookspeed Viper, while third across the line, as we saw there, Neil Cunningham and Peter Cook in the Tech 9 Porsche. The fourth car home was the Lotus Esprit, but after the race and the post-race scrutineering, it was excluded for being below the minimum weight requirement, and that meant great news for the second Tech 9 Porsche, as Jonathan Rowland and Ashley Ward were promoted to fourth place. Rounding out the top five was the number 10 Marcus of Matt Edwards and Andy Purvis. Well, it's been a great day's work for James Pickford and David Warnock. The champagne celebrations atop of the podium. Great stuff from the top six drivers. You had a little bit of a spin. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I held a tight line coming out of the Melbourne Loop, and I was getting on the power nice and early. Unfortunately, just got a little bit too much. Spun to the inside. Second time round, though, when I was behind him for the second time, I made sure I didn't make the same mistake.
When James got me coming out of the Melbourne Loop, he came across to defend, quite rightly so, braked early. I can't stop that quickly. Not in the car at that time of the day, so we wiped him out. We had a nice interchange on the grass facing each other. So after you, very sorry. And James took the win as he deserved.
It's a magical feeling, and I'm happy for all the team, you know. I couldn't have done it without them. I thank them for giving me the chance, really.
Well, congratulations to the whole team.
Thank you very much.